everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7 back again with the preview for this weekend's game against Aston Villa at Villa Park. And this, after Manchester United, is one of the games that I would circle in the calendar and go, please, oh please, get the 3 points and get one over this bunch of absolute bastards, because I for one certainly will never forget the absolute song and fucking dance that they did when we went down there. There's enjoying it, and then there's taking the piss, and then there's pushing it too far, and there's now that rivalry between the two clubs, despite the distance and everything else, where I just can't stand the bastards, to be honest. I really cannot stand the entire club. If that's totally different to the fact that you can respect the job that Unai Emery is doing down there, and the resurgence since they got rid of the fucking messiah Steven Gerrard. He was absolutely hailed as he come in, but then obviously straight away failed, went tits up. They brought in Unai Emery, and he has done a magnificent job. I think they were like 16th or so in the league when he came in, and now they are seriously pushing for European football. And in a way, it's great to see. On the flip side, the likes of Aston Villa, ourselves, Newcastle United, Brighton, and a clutch of other teams as well, just in and around the European places, and upsetting the establishment. Certainly after all the greedy six, shenanigans and Super Leagues and all that, it's really, really good, and it's nice to see that hopefully this season there may be a few of these big heavy hitters missing out on Champions League, maybe missing out even on Europa League, and one's going to have to settle for the Europa Conference League, and some, the likes of Chelsea, despite spending £500 million, missing out on European football altogether, and then the financial implications that will bring, no doubt about it. So yeah, it is good to see other teams up there, and certainly this weekend's game, Aston Villa against Newcastle United, are two teams that are definitely in that mix, to shake up the establishment, to shake things up, and to have different teams qualify for Europe for a fucking change. So it is good on that side of it, but on the other side, I really can't stand the bunch of bastards. Cannot stand them. But Newcastle head into this weekend's game full of confidence. What's that? 5 wins now on a row, and we have timed the good form to absolute fucking perfection, where others are still crumbling or having to rely on VAR stroke refereeing shenanigans to pick up points and to try and limp over the finish line. We are going absolutely hell for leather, and even when we do have a bad 45, you've got Mad Dog, you've got Eddie Howe, you've got the Gateshead Guardiola all at the side, orchestrating the turnaround, making brave substitutions, changing tactics, going gung-ho for results. It's absolutely amazing. You've got a much stronger bench than what we've had in so fucking long. And that game against Brentford, that's the perfect sum of it all. Worst 45 probably under Eddie Howe. Comes to half time, we make the substitutions, we've got the players there to be able to effectively change the game. We go for it in second half. We are more than clear and deserved winners, in my opinion. And obviously last time out as well, Aston Villa, they had a victory over, I think it was Nottingham Forest. Now, a lot of that was probably courtesy to a certain ex-Newcastle United player, John Joe Shelby, gifting them goals. But look, we've got to respect this lot, there's no doubt about it in my thoughts. They are a tricky opposition. They're probably the team that you don't want to play. However, I would imagine that on any fan channel for Aston Villa, they are saying exactly the same about Newcastle United. They will be saying, anybody but Newcastle coming down. It is going to be an absolute heavyweight slugfest. Well, it should be an absolutely great game for the neutral, but a huge game for both teams. I personally think, obviously, Newcastle United can edge it. I think we've got more ways to be able to hurt them. We have to be vigilant. We have to have a good game in the fullback areas. I think we have to stay alert defensively. We have to watch out for their long shots as well. But I think if we do all of that well, and then, you know, get the ball forward, and we're able to utilise Callum Wilson, we're able to utilise Alexander Isak, then I think we can do more damage than what they can do, and we can come out with the 3 points. And it will be a huge, massive 3 points, because this, in my book, is it's up there with the Arsenal game, is possibly the biggest challenge, the biggest and hardest job to do between now and the end of the season. And look, I know we've got some tricky games against the likes of Brighton and so on and so forth, but I just think Aston Villa, with the form that they're in, with the manager that they've got inside Villa Park, this to me is probably our hardest game between now and the end of the season. So if we were to get 3 points out of this game, it would be absolutely massive. It would be huge and a massive step, definitely towards European football, but potentially and ultimately it could be towards Champions League football at St James's Park. That's probably a little bit beyond what Aston Villa are capable of this season. But next season, if they continue as they are doing this season, with investment, with the right players signed, then you could not count Aston Villa out from mounting a Champions League tilt. You just can't, not with the way that they're playing, the football that they're playing and everything else. They've got a good team, they've got some good players playing for them, there's no doubt about it. Hopefully it would be great if it was a rerun of the game at St James's Park. It really would be. I'd be really encouraged. They have a few injury players. They've got 3 or 4 players who are going to be missing for this weekend. We obviously as well have injured players going into this weekend. Conflicting information on Alan St Maximin. Now, the club, whoever released some information, saying they had a grade 2, had a hamstring issue, a tear. He was going to be out between 4 to 6 weeks, which probably would have took him out for the majority of the season. He might have been back on the bench, for the last game or two of the season. However, literally an hour after that come out, on Alan St Maximin's Instagram account, I believe it was, they actually pictured him. He's still in France. They were given some time off after the run of 3 games in 6 days. He's remained in France. He's been doing his recovery work over there. We've all seen him in the the medical facility and stuff. But then he's out running, just going for a run. Now, if you've got a tear of your hamstring, I just can't imagine that would be something that you would be doing so soon. And I just don't say that you'd still be out for another 5 or so weeks, based upon the fact that you're running about and stuff like that now. So I don't know. Obviously, he's not going to make this weekend. I think that's an absolute given. However, with the games that we've got coming up, the likes of Spurs, could he maybe get back on the bench for that? That's got to be a possibility. And talking about players on the bench, that brings me back to this weekend's game and looking towards Miguel Almiron, another player that we thought would be out maybe another couple of weeks, pictured in full training, not training by himself, anything else like that, pictured in full training with Eddie Howe and the rest of the lads. So he has got to be in consideration for this weekend's game. And again, it's going to be another option for the bench. And I've just talked earlier on about the strength. And one of the strengths that Newcastle have got is the fact that these days we have got options to be able to bring off the bench to affect games and change formations, and to turn draws into wins, to turn defeats into draws and possibly wins, and so on and so forth. So it would be nice to have Miggy on the bench. He has had a fantastic season this campaign. He has scored goals. He is still the club's leading goal scorer, although Callum Wilson and Alexander Isak are starting to breathe down his neck. It will be a welcome sight. Certainly, I'll be pleased to see Miggy back on the bench for this weekend's game. And between now and the end of the season, with again a lot of games still to play, every single body, every single person fit and available is a massive advantage, and it could make the difference between qualifying and not qualifying for something like the Champions League. And that will be absolutely massive, because it will fast track, it will supercharge the business plan that the new owners had. They didn't expect this to be any sort of an option until maybe 2-3 years down the line. We're doing it straight away. You want Champions League? I'll get you Champions League, and I'll get you Champions League 2 years ahead of schedule. So it's absolutely fantastic. Could be massive, and it'll be great. It will be fantastic to see some of the other teams, like Chelsea, maybe Liverpool's in the world, not in the Champions League, having to maybe slug it out on a Thursday night, or maybe having to sit at home and watch the likes of ourselves and Aston Villa and the likes of Brighton on those European away days, enjoying and reaping all the benefits financially and football wise, game wise, taking on the biggest, the baddest, the best from around Europe. Maybe a Barcelona or a Bayern Munich, somebody like that, a Paris Saint-Germain. You can put dream and want, can't you? It certainly does whet the appetite, but to get there, we've got to do the business. Now, team news for me, the defence, I don't think Eddie Howe is going to change that defence at all. He doesn't like to. Now, I know we've got Matty Targett, who must be literally like a fucking dog in heat. He must be desperate to start the games against his old team with a point to prove. Do you bring him in? I may be really tempted. If it was me, I would be really tempted, because I think he will have a point to prove back down there. And he never lets you down when he's playing. I think Dan Burn has looked a little bit tired, a little bit fatigued at certain points, and it's something we're going to have to watch in this game, because I think Aston Villa will try and exploit the Dan Burn situation at left back. Look, he had a dodgy spell last time out, but a lot of players did in that first half. A lot of players did, and everybody's entitled to a little dodgy spell here, here and there, now and again. I don't think Eddie Howe will make a change to the entire defence. He's spoken about this before, previously at press conferences. He doesn't like to make changes to the defence. I can't imagine him making changes to the defence. So I think it will be Nick Pope in the middle of our goal, Trippier at right back, Sven Botman, Fabian Schär, the two centre-backs. Left back will be Dan Burn once again. And then in front, this is where it comes a little bit interesting. Now, Sean Longstaff was taken off last time out. I think Sean is a player who likes to cover every blade of grass. And I think 3 games in 6 days caught up with a major league against Brentford. And I think that's why he was taken off. So for me, he's had a week off. He's had a week of rest, recuperation, a couple of days spent at his leisure. So I think Sean will still be in the middle. I think it'll be Sean, Bruno and Joe Linton. Joe Linton back into the middle for his physicality, his athleticism, his running, and he's just his general presence. I think he'll be brought back into the middle. I don't think he'll be played out wide. I think it'll be those 3 in the middle. Joe Willock out to the left-hand side. We've got Alan St. Maximin with a question mark over. If he was to make anything this weekend, if he was to make anything next weekend, it's going to be at bench at best, which is a massive shame, because he was banging form before this latest setback. And he does offer you the X factor, something different, something that not many players can do, with that unpredictability, with that explosion that he's got, the creativity as well. Well, I think on the left hand side, Joe Willock, as he proved, especially against the likes of I think it was Leicester back previously, where he ran down and he crossed the ball in for Bruno, the winner last season. That sort of performance. Joe Willock is absolutely fast. Well, he's certainly a lot faster than I ever gave him credit for when he was at Arsenal. And he can do an amazing job down there. He's got a great cross on him. He'll get up and down. He'll offer the defensive side as well. So I think that it could well be Joe Willock who's placed out on the left-hand side. On the other side, I think this may be where change comes now. Anthony Gordon, a lot's been said about him in the press. A lot of people have had an opinion on the likes of TalkSport, ex-professionals, people with bent noses and so on and so forth. But I think this is a game where he brings in Anthony Gordon, who'll have a little bit of extra motivation, no doubt about it, to be able to set the record straight and to put things right a little bit. I thought, and I think since he's joined from Everton, he's been absolutely fantastic. He just hasn't been available as much as what we would like. I think this is the sort of game that Anthony Gordon comes in and starts. Personally, again, I would have played Gordon and Isak either side of Callum Wilson in this game and really gone for it. and I'd possibly put Joe Willock back in the midfield, and I'd have dropped Sean Longstaff. However, I think Eddie, like I touched on before, he'll play Joe Linton, Bruno, Sean Longstaff, Willock on the left. On the right hand side, Anthony Gordon, and up top, Callum Wilson. And I think he puts Callum Wilson on just for that physicality, just to be able to hold the ball up. And then I think in the second half, after 60, 65 minutes, he then makes the change. And he sees who needs to be rested, who needs to be taken off. We rejiggle midfield around. Isaac goes to the left, maybe Callum Wilson up top. Or if we're already ahead, you know, if we're a couple of goals up in the ideal situation, then it's a like for like, and you're reducing the risk of injury for Callum Wilson, because we still, with his record of injuries and knocks and stuff, we still have to be really, really careful and manage the group of players that we have got. We all saw what happened against for Manchester United. Their entire defence fucking limping off in the European game. Fans now of the fucking Manchester Reds on about the fact that they haven't rotated, they haven't protected the players, and this may cost them ultimately in the long scheme of things. So it's all about squad management, squad protection, squad rotation, looking after these lads and just getting over the finishing line by any means necessary. So yeah, that's my team. I think Callum Wilson will be up top, Joe Willock on one side, and Anthony Gordon on the other side, and that'll still keep plenty of spare on the bench. You'll have Isaacs on the bench as well, Miggy on the bench as well, Jacob Murphy, who's done nothing particularly wrong recently. You know, he's done a job, he's got the ball crossed in, he's provided assists, and he's been a shithouse of the absolute highest fucking possible order. So it's nothing against him, but I just think that Anthony Gordon, with everything that happened at the end of last game, with him desperate to prove a point, with a price tag, with a good week's worth of training under his belt, no doubt about it, I just think that, I think the time is right now, and I think Eddie will see the time is right now to be able to start him. As for prediction, I've been getting these right. I have been getting these right really quite a lot recently. This game, like I touched on before, I think it'll be a great one for the neutrals. It'll be full of entertainment. I don't see there being loads of goals because, Aston Villa have been defensively good and decent. We have been defensively good and decent. Best defence in the Premier League, Newcastle United. Who would have thought that? So I don't see loads of goals being conceded, but I just think we have enough to be able to edge this one, and I'm going to go for Aston Villa 0, Newcastle United 2. That's what I'm going for this one. I personally think any points that we get at Villa Park at the moment, with the way that they are playing, are good points. Continuing just to rack them up would be absolutely great. So yeah, either which way, we have to just come out with something out of the game. But I'm going for 2-0, Newcastle United 2-0 victory down at Villa Park, and to continue this fantastic form around. And that will be another sucker punch, and it'll be another shot in the gut for the likes of Spurs and Manchester United, who will be looking at our results and thinking, surely the wheels are going to come off. The wheels are going to come off. They've been saying that now for absolutely months. The wheels are going to come off. We had a small blip, and it was a small blip, and that has been it pretty much all season. So, massive fingers crossed for this game. We will be back straight afterwards with the first thoughts on the game, hopefully talking about another 3 points for Newcastle United in the bag, and again looking up the Premier League table with a game less to go in this campaign. We are balls deep, we are business end in the Premier League season, and Newcastle United are fighting for third place, not even just Champions League, third bastard place. You need to pinch yourself. I just hope the lads can keep this run going. Massive opportunity and massive game this weekend. Unai Emery, a fantastic job being done down at there, but Eddie Howe, an even better job getting done at St James's Park. Let me know down below your thoughts about the game. What's the score going to be? Where's it going to be won and lost? And who's going to start? Will Eddie Howe tweak anything? Will he change formation? Will he change the personnel? Can Matt Targett get a game in back at left back? Does he deserve that opportunity to be able to get that left back spot, for himself? Let me know, would you play Isaac up top, would you play Callum Wilson up top, or would you play both up top? Let me know down below in the comments, and please do subscribe. Hit the subscribe. There's no fees, there's no nothing like that. It just massively helps us out with the algorithm, and also helps support Magpie 24/7. We've just gone over the 110,000 subscribers across the board, but YouTube at 1600 obviously is lagging a little bit behind, so we would appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. It does mean a heck of a lot. We put a lot of effort, energy and time into Magpie 24/7, so it does mean a lot when you subscribe to the channel and hit like, and also put them comments down below as well. And I'll leave it there. So in the meantime, take care, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.